Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rob, and today we're going to be doing some more work on the bullet. This time it's going to be something relatively simple, but a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't feel comfortable doing, and that is changing oil. So we've got the hood open here, and we've got all of our tools ready to go down here. We've got a drain pan, we've got a funnel, we've got a couple different types of wrenches, our new oil, our new filter, and of course we got a rag to make sure that we can clean up. And what I didn't picture here, because I don't want it laying on the ground and getting potentially trampled on, is our owner's manual. That gives us all sorts of important information, like what oil viscosity we need to use, and also how much oil the engine holds. So I'll show you that here in a second, and then we're going to get started. Here we've got our legacy owner manual. If we open it up, pages 9-10 and 9-11. See, we've got oil viscosities on the left, and our capacity on the right, which is 4.2 quarts or 4 liters. And here we've got 5 quarts or 4.73 liters of new oil. So we're going to be using pretty much this whole thing. So the first thing we're going to need to do is find out where our oil drain is, and on most vehicles, especially these older vehicles, it's pretty easy to locate. It's located on the bottom of our oil pan, which is right here. So there's our drain. And right up here is our actual oil filter. So we're going to remove this one first, let that drain out into our drain pan we're going to put underneath here, and then pull the filter. And then we're going to just reverse the process before we top this thing back up. Just slid our oil pan under here. There are, of course, many different sizes of oil pans. So on some you may actually have to jack the vehicle up a little bit to make sure that the oil pan slides underneath there. But this one slips right down underneath there, so we can capture everything. It does bump up against the exhaust, but that's fine. Don't really care about that because it does slide back far enough. I've got a 17 millimeter wrench here, and it just slips right on there. I'm going to loosen it. Alright, now that it's cracked loose, put this back underneath. Sometimes space is a little bit at a premium here. So we'll see if we can loosen this up with our hands. Yep. Come this with our hands. Easy peasy. And there goes the oil. You can tell it's been a minute since I changed the oil. Try to change it between every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Manufacturer recommends 3,000, but sometimes I have other stuff going on in my life and that's not possible. So what am I going to do with this to make sure I don't lose it? My little drain plug. I'm going to use that rag that I had a second ago and place it on that so it stays secure and also dust free. Okay, that's still coming out, which is good. I'll let that keep draining. What I like to do while it's draining is inspect the drain plug and the oil that's coming out there to see if there's any little metal shavings, which tell me that there's a problem inside the engine. Stuff is rubbing up against each other. And I didn't see that. I didn't see any of that, any evidence of that when looking at the drain plug or the oil that was still on it. Now that it's slowed down to a drip, should be only a little bit of oil left in the oil filter to pull out. So that's going to be the next thing that we do here. I'm going to let that drip a little bit more. I'm going to wipe it down and put the plug back in so that we don't forget to do that. A lot of horror stories out there about people or shops forgetting to put the drain plug back in. And since we're going to go for a drive up to Vernal, Utah today, I don't want to forget to do that. It's looking pretty good. A quick wipe. I'll go ahead and put this in. wipe so nothing's about to drip out. Move the oil pan out of the way temporarily. Come back in here and snug it down so it doesn't leak. So what I do is take this sludge, the used oil, and I keep all of my old oil bottles for the used fluid so I can drain these into there. So what's going to happen now, after I'm finished up, is going to drain this into an old oil bottle, and I can take that back to the auto parts shop and they will dispose of it for you. Here we have our new filter. This is a K&N filter, and it's got a little wrench attachment on the top, which I like. I don't always get these, but they are handy if I do end up over tightening them. We've got our oil up here. So what we're going to do, open up our oil and just run a quick seam of oil around that gasket you see there. What's the best way to do that? Well, I just punctured the top up here. I'm just going to take my finger and run that around. Get some more. Run it around. It's not asking for a whole lot of oil, just a little bit. Shockingly, the oil is slippery. So now I've got oil on all of it. See, it's all nice and shiny. So next step is to install it. Okay. We've got this all nice and oiled up. Stop dripping. So we're going to just stick it right up on there. And give it some turns to get it to snug down. Hand tight right there. It's not turning anymore. We do have a 1-inch nut here on the bottom that we can use if we wanted to get it a little bit tighter, but I feel like this is probably going to be good. We'll drive it around a little bit and double check that. The next step is maybe the most obvious. It's to put more oil back in the car. You don't want to go through all this trouble and then end up with an oilless motor. It's a quick way to get a new motor or a new car depending on your budget. So let's go upstairs. Okay, so we've got the oil filler cap off, and we've got our funnel here. We're just going to stick that right in there, and then we're going to add in our 4 quarts of oil. So you'll see me stopping periodically to look at the indicator on the side of the bottle to make sure that we haven't overfilled it or see if we still have more to go. So remember, we need 4 quarts. We've got 5 quarts in this bottle. Here we go. And like I said before, we're gonna end up using most of this bottle. You can see the back marker here. We are down about 2 quarts. We got 2 more to go. About a half quart there. 1 quart left. And you can see here, we're almost down there. So at this point is when we start using the dipstick. The dipstick, unlike what many people think, is not actually measuring from the very bottom of the oil sump. In fact, it's just measuring whether you have enough oil to safely operate the vehicle. So if you read your instruction manual, or at least this vehicle's instruction manual, there's a full section, and then there's also an add section. It's not empty, it's add. So when you're getting down below, 3 quarts or so, that's when you get into the add section. I'm just going to toss a little bit more in here, and then check our dipstick. I suspect we'll be pretty dang close. Let that puppy down. Look at that, it's right at the full mark. So, we've done it. We have drained and refilled the oil here in our 1994 Subaru Legacy. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, make sure everything is functional, there's no leaks, and we'll be set to drive to Vernal today. Alright, engine's fired up, 290,706 miles on the clock. We've got the oil change. Let's hop outside real quick to make sure that there's no leaks, nothing's malfunctioning. We can go ahead and close the hood. Things look good up here. And down here I don't see any leaks. Thanks everybody for watching, tuning in for this episode of Bullet Repairs. Got the oil changed, and we'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this, found it useful, please give us a like and a subscribe.